Boardcast, we often caught a lot of flack for not talking about anything other than Magic the Gathering. So today it's lucky because today we're talking about Final Fantasy.
Yeah.
That Final Fantasy
Yeah.
might have to be inside Magic the Gathering,
Yeah.
but we are branching out. And
Jokes on you, we're doubling down on Magic the Gathering. The truth is that Warhammer has, they have an interesting release every now and again, but Magic is just constantly rapid firing out new things to talk about. So
it's also crazy that we I think if it was just Magic the Gathering, it would be maybe slightly less. But it's that we have the Universes Beyond allows it to go into like a bunch of other things.
Yeah.
So it's also giving us the content to go and exist into other franchises.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's
you can
giving us
you
the
can
step.
min max by just playing Magic the Gathering. You're min maxing and also playing other games at the same time.
Yeah, exactly.
There was a Final Fantasy card game, right? The TCG.
Oh yes, it is still exists.
You don't have to play that anymore. You can just let that game die,
Is that
and
that-
you can just play Magic.
Is that the one they sent? Was it the Final Fantasy stuff they sent us those demo decks and they were shocking? Was that game? Or was that a different game?
No, that was some other game, man. That was for Universes.
Oh, it
There's
was
a card
too.
game called Universes,
Yeah.
where it is just the Fortnite of card games, where it's just like all the anime collabs.
A while back, they sent us some like promo decks to hand out, and the art was,
Terrible.
I was like, this isn't getting
It
anybody
was
into this
real
game.
bad, man.
Well, I think to start off, obviously, Final Fantasy comes out this week. This is on the weekend.
Wait, hold on.
recording
Before we
this.
get into Magic, all right, quickly, Warhammer. Let's, Space Wolves. How do you guys feel?
They look good. It's
Yep,
cool.
cool.
Yeah.
all right.
Vampires.
Yeah, excellent. Also good.
Emperor's Children.
Gross.
All right, there we
I
go.
never like a Empress Druid.
All right, see now.
Is it because it's too like satanic for you, William?
No, it's just too.
I think Chaos is just
like
satanic,
I
right?
like Death God.
I think you're that guy. If you're too much into like Emperor's Children here in a shop environment or a community environment, everyone's like, what are you doing, guy?
Well, Kai, who's been on the podcast, he doubled down. He was a Drakari player, and now he's also an Emperor's Children player.
They're both on the
He likes the
battlefield.
whip.
They just post.
I guess.
all you guys just take their shirts off and whip each other. Talking about one thing about Warhammer though, did you see the price for the new Vampire Lord on Dragon?
Oh, it's like 200s plus. right?
$380.
It's an
for a
awesome
singular model.
mini, and if you
Oh,
haven't
there's a
seen
dragon
it,
on it.
Yeah, but that's a lot of dollar dues, man. The dragon that it replaced was $98.
correct. If you're
called inflation.
if you want to see a really cool mini, there's a new Soulbite Grave Lord Vampire Lord on Dragon. Fantastic mini. A lot of like really fine details and sculpted with a great pose. But man, $300, it's heavy.
It is a lot of dollars, and I think I don't know if it maybe they're just trying to make the AOS the premium version, while Warhammer Fantasy, like the old world, becomes the slightly cheaper version because it is more cost effective to get into the old world game. But they're kind of doing a thing at the moment where, like, obviously I'm a big fan of old world fantasy, but the big boxes they're releasing aren't really good ways to start armies. I think aesthetically, maybe that's what you think of as their army, but then it counteracts how you'd want to play them based on the rule books they're releasing. So I don't know if those two parties aren't communicating with each other very well, but I think their development teams are a lot smaller. So theoretically, they should kind of know what they're doing.
Yeah, I have noticed that when we're selling the box products for Old World Fantasy, there's way more of a people will buy it if it comes out and it's good rather than because I don't play the game, so I'm not sure if it's going to come out and if it's a good box. There's a bit of a shot in the dark whether it sells.
I would say the only ones that have come out since release for Old World Fantasy, the big boxes that are a good value based on the fact that it's good value for money and you're actually going to use the majority of the units inside the box are the Beastmen and the Dwarves. The Beastmen you would actually use all of the models, maybe not all of every single one, but you'd use all of the different types of units in there. But something like the Empire box, it's giving you a bunch of models that you're just not going to play. Like if you want to play a narrative game where you got two guys and you're like creating a story, you might use them. But if you're playing a competitive list, the Empire one, you're using maybe a quarter of the models out of that box.
Oh,
And they cost about
interesting.
$300 a box. And do you know what also costs $300 roughly?
What?
Three Final Fantasy collector boosters.
3.
So back into the Magic together. All right, if you clicked on this video, if you clicked on this episode of this podcast, you know what we're going to talk about. Final Fantasy Magic
3
Gathering.
packs. It's crazy.
Yeah. The collector boosters are a lot. And this whole set
It's a
has
small
been
chance for you to get a
massive
cereal.
financial
Yeah.
investment for all the boards. This set is massive. Where the hype been going in is building and building and building, and I feel like it's going to finally like climax when it releases.
Yeah.
But I'm ready. I'm ready for the set to come out because it's just been an absolute roller coaster ride of emotions going into the set of like from our side having to organize everything, get the products in, and from the consumer side as well, people like getting more and more excited as cars get spoiled.
Well, it's because I've been in the shop for the last couple of days. I think what I've noticed is some people that were signed up or like preparing to save their money for Final Fantasy release products, but the cost of the product is so high. that some of those people have essentially like jetpacked out,
Yeah.
and they came in and bought like maybe old Commander decks that they were thinking about and stuff because they weren't prepared to spend that money or so much money on such a little amount of product. You know what I mean? So it's like I think for some people it's already been priced out of the market for them.
I don't want to make assumptions, but I think those people that spend their money now are still going to buy Final Fantasy.
Well, that's the shop's dream, right?
Yeah. If you save up money and you know you're going to buy a thing, just commit to it.
Yeah.
Because when the time comes to it, you're going to want to do it anyway.
But I do get it though, because like when Lord of the Rings came out and they were $90 a collector booster, right?
They were around that ballpark.
Yeah.
Yeah. They were pretty high up there as well.
There was a lot of people that weren't willing to spend that money on that thing, and I totally accept that. Like it's everybody has to have a limit of where they go to, and that's totally fine. It's the same when buying any other premium product, whether it's like going out to dinner for a restaurant. Right? Some people are never going to go to spend that $500 because it's just not. It's and I totally respect that as well. It's like I think I'd have $500 dinner once in my entire lifetime, and I definitely didn't pay for it either. So I totally understand not spending that. So you've $100 for collector boosters outside of your ballpark. I don't think you should have to sway on that.
I feel like
but you
if
do miss out.
I feel like if you've been saving yourself up and you're ready for a set, you should just commit to it, and you might as well just like go through because you know you're going to get excited.
Yeah, but
It's
4 months ago when it was announced, or whenever it was announced, were you expecting $100 collector packs?
I was expecting a markup. I was expecting close to Lord of the Rings, but I wasn't expecting the current Final Fantasy prices. The Final Fantasy prices edge out the Lord of the Rings prices by about 20%, honestly.
Obviously, clear guessing and speculation.
It shouldn't be so high. It's high because it's shortage.
The demand is so massive.
Well, you said yesterday, Kang, that apparently it's been sold out in Southeast Asia, or is it Japan? Or Southeast Asia? Just
It's
Japan.
massive in Japan.
Their distributors were sold out 4 months ago. Which
As in every store is completely pre-ordered out.
Yeah.
They're not going to have shelf stock, is what I'm trying to say in Japan.
So I guess that's
already
how
gone.
they gather because a few months ago they said it was the best selling set of all time.
Yeah.
But how did they get that stat before
So
they posted it on the shelf?
when Hasbro first announced that Final Fantasy was the best selling set of all time in Magic history, and Magic history is a 30-year long plus history.
Yeah.
I was a bit confused because I know Lord of the Rings was massive, but Lord of the Rings is specifically big in the Western world, and the Eastern world, Magic Lord of the Rings was like it's all right.
Yeah.
Final Fantasy is big in both worlds, right? It's big in the Western world, and it's specifically big in the Eastern world, where there's a lot more population density. Wizards of the Coast have been really trying to push for Magic to grow in Japan, and Japan has a big card game culture.
Huge.
Magic was never really a top tier game. Top three was kind of Pokemon, One Piece, and Yu-Gi-Oh, right?
Yes,
in
Yu-Gi-Oh.
Japan. I think a while back, Duel Masters was outselling Magic regularly in Japan. So they've been really trying to get
Well, that's a Hasbro game as well. So at
It's
least
all a
they're
Hasbro
getting their money somewhere.
correct, exactly. And they've been trying to make a big push for Magic. You know, that's their big earner in Japan. So now with Final Fantasy, this is their chance because Final Fantasy is a beloved franchise in Japanese culture. It comes from Japan. I remember seeing like advertisement in the middle of their what's the big walkway, the Akihabara walkway? You know what I'm talking about, William? They have the big crossing, the
center
famous
square.
one.
It
It's
looks like
Shinjuku?
Madison Garden.
Shinjuku Crossing. Shinjuku Crossing. It's
Is that the one you see in their like pictures all the time?
Correct.
where-
It's the
Wow,
equivalent
Fast
of
and Furious.
yeah. It's their Times Square. And just like Times Square, it's absolutely covered in like premium real estate for
advertising
For
stuff.
advertising, and Magic had a big Final Fantasy one there as well. So it just shows you the big push they're trying to make in Japan. And according to that, in Japan, the Final Fantasy set has been going absolutely insane. It's been completely sold out. I mean, I've heard there's been
Hey, you have to sell some boxes there.
there's been comments about people who live in Japan and how as consumers they're just been impossible. There's not going to be shelf stock. As in, it's already all gone. It's all gone already.
I wonder if I take Northern Borders, if I take all of our stock and fly to Japan and sell it there, if
Honestly,
I'll make more money there
I've
than I
heard
would
that.
here.
I've heard that the English cards do fairly well in Japan as well.
It's not too bad.
Yeah.
I assume it's because the resale value is also there.
Correct.
As well, right?
And in Japan, a lot of people do also speak and read English to a certain extent. So
I've never been there, but I've heard that in Japan a lot of people don't speak English and they like don't care that you want them to.
I think in the regional areas,
It's better now. It's
better now?
Much better now.
And what was it we were talking about? Where you've been to Japan, William, and then we've had friends of ours go to Japan.
Yeah,
and the
quite a lot,
card
yeah.
game stores there just have queues, lines, because a lot of people do play card games there.
Yeah, Tomo was saying yesterday that he tried to get into one. It was like an hour wait just to get in the door, let alone look
Yeah.
around.
Not only that, like you still have to book your spot. Yeah, if you want to play like on a table, right? You want to play Commander, you have like you register yourself and then they give you a time limit.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, it's like a regular Thursday night where we're like, yeah, just come pay $15 and play all night.
No.
You
It's
have to
just
book
like
ahead.
you
You're
have
gonna
to
be like,
book
I'm coming
ahead.
next week's Thursday night.
Yeah, so pretty much like, I mean, we're pretty fortunate here. We just come into a store.
Is it
and
a
can
real
play,
estate
right?
issue where there's just not a lot of space?
It's not a lot of space, one, and there's more people than space.
Yeah.
Because it's like
density.
if it's in Tokyo, then there's more people than space.
It's good business, but like we had people who had to sign up
it's
just to
what
come
I'm
to
saying,
regular
like,
nights.
Like just now, what I was saying that, in WA we just take it for granted, right?
Yeah.
We just we just stand up, start, and yes, I'm sure that's spot.
Yeah.
Like nah. In Japan, like you really have to plan, like
What events you're going to
what
by
events
ahead.
you're going to, or if you go to a store, they might not have spot for you to play.
yeah.
It's on a much lower scale, but we've transitioned across to doing most of our event tickets online, which is something that Kang's done and has worked really well. And it's made a big difference to our organization, knowing how many people are going to be at events and how we plan ahead for them. So it'd be such a good situation to have if every like even just your regular days were set out where you knew who was coming in and what was going on. It does sound pretty good, actually.
So the big push in Japan and how crazy it's gone in Japan has kind of like this is the conspiracy part of the part of me where Australia a while back we got announcement that we're receiving 30% less stock.
33%.
33%. So
And
one
that three
third
might mean
less
nothing,
stock.
but you're talking about $100,000 at that point.
We're talking about
30%.
1/3 less stock across an entire nation.
Yeah.
And then where did it go? So we're assuming, my speculation is that it got redirected to Japan and Asian countries to try and bolster the numbers there because it's a big push, man. It's a big seller there.
I also have to imagine that with the stuff being that popular over there, the buying power of their distributors must be much larger.
Gigantic. I think in those
Oh,
places
yeah.
you have giant
It's crazy.
companies, franchises.
They do like they deal like maybe almost 100K a day in singles.
Yeah. And that
a day?
Yeah, it's
100,000 of turnaround in a day.
well,
It's
gotta be-
crazy because there's so many people, right?
The same way that like Eternal Magic and Northern Boards have like credit limits with the distributors, the distributor has to have a credit limit with like the people that produce the product and send it to them. So it's like there's as the boards we have in a range of like $20,000, the distributors will have in the hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars. But then the Southeast Asians must just have significantly higher than the distributors here in Australia, just because the buy through.
I wonder if
is
it's
so much
cheaper
higher.
because they print it there. They don't have to logistically ship it out as far.
No. When a manufacturer appoints someone to print a product, you have to ship that item back to the manufacturer, and then manufacturer ships it back to you.
Oh, so it goes to Wizard.
Yeah,
and
so
then
it
goes
doesn't.
back.
So there's no leak.
Yeah.
You can't go from
Point to point.
producer to like end user. You can't do that.
Gotcha.
Yeah, because there will be a leak there because you need to go there and then they will check everything is in stock and then they'll ship it out from there.
And that's why I think it was such a big, as somebody who's in logistics and working in like trucking and transport, when they did the early release where they messed up the pre-release kits for the Final Fantasy and the Dragonstorm, the fact that they got mixed up early and there was the leaks,
in Brazil.
that's a colossal mistake. Because think about any other industry, it's the same. Like you're like you're transporting like Lay's chips, right? And you're bringing in new branding, and you ship out the new branding like 3 or 4 months before it's supposed to be announced. Before like
Such a big deal.
millions of dollars of advertising and brand awareness and all that stuff has happened, and then you F it up that bad that it gets shipped out months beforehand. People, I assume, multiple people have lost jobs over that. It's a crazy mistake.
Can you imagine an equivalent would be when the PlayStation 5 was just coming out, before it came out and everyone was really excited to pick up a PlayStation 5. Imagine if they accidentally shipped out PlayStation 5s like 3 months early.
Yeah, and I think that's a big difference between like
It would be such a massively huge like pie in their face for Sony. Sony would look bad, people would be mad, not good.
we spend like a decade and then years of like advertising and preparation, all of that. And I think that's the big difference between like fake leaks, where you send product out to online influencers and some of them get it early and they show some of them. That's way different to sending the wrong product 3 months beforehand from the distribution company.
Yeah,
like that's
definitely.
nuts. So
Because they have the new Magic the Gathering ambassador program. at the
Wait, what's
moment.
this? Oh yeah, for the
Yeah,
content
for
creators.
all the
Yeah,
influencers
yeah.
and stuff.
Content
So they
creators get like they get
They get a box. They get a full set of command decks. Like,
I have seen a few photos of
Yeah.
these floating around. Yeah,
the so there's a thing.
buddy,
where,
where's our free Magic cards?
I know, right? Where's the Boardcast
Yeah.
spoiler?
Our 15 listeners and I should be
We
getting
deserve
our
a
free
Mythic card
cards.
to spoil as well. So
Mythic
it should have been us spoiling like Sephiroth or something. from
Yeah,
Final
100%,
Fantasy,
yeah.
one of the big name characters.
we get to spoil a basic land. Look at the basic land.
Hey, would you like to see an island?
I did see that like the Good Games guys at Morley, they got theirs, and I think it's the Ice Flan or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And their card, it is funny because it's arguably not a very good card, but they have the I guess the ballsiness to go in and like in their video
Correct.
show that it's not a very good card, which is kind of funny because I'm like, I wonder how the people sending them the card, they're like, do they see the joke of it, or will they be like insulted by the fact that they're saying it's not a good
almost
card?
like a favoritism tier list thing where you just slowly work your way up from a common, uncommon, to rare.
I guess it's like I would say they want you to make it viral.
Yeah.
So if you like make it like a not good card, like people will watch it and then like
I guess the contract is
as long as there is viewers, I think.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter which.
I think
card
what is going to be like. Happy.
There's a thing in the community right now where Maro, who's one of the lead designers, has to come out and say that we are trying to print as much as we can. It's just the demand for every Magic set has been so insane.
Yeah.
And I do think that is true. You get a lot of like, glass half empty, a lot of doomsayers, a lot of negativity around when sets sell out, and people saying like, oh, Wizards are purposely underprinting to try and, artificial scarcity and such. But I don't necessarily think so. It feels like every set coming out now, there's been more and more hype, and Wizards, like for a product like Final Fantasy, I can't even imagine the numbers of how much to print.
Yeah.
There's an astronomical amount of booster boxes, card products that you have to print. And they have like 3 main printers in the world. They had to be going 24/7 nonstop.
Yeah.
Because we're talking about a thing that's global. There's so much product you have to print.
We're also in a world where there's a global egg shortage right now. So it's like there's a huge shortage on cars. There's a huge shortage on batteries. It's like it's not. I get that people think that because artificial scarcity has been proven in the past to be true, but it's also we're in a world where shortages happen because we just can't produce as much as we're consuming, and that's like a global issue across the board of a bunch of different things. But it's like, I'm sure if they could, we say the same thing here. It's like when we don't have a product and people are a bit bummed out that we don't have the product to sell them. It's like I would love to take your money. I would absolutely love for me to have this item so you could give me your money and I can make some money off of it.
Yeah.
It's like a lot of the time us not having the thing isn't a choice of ours, and I'm sure in a lot of ways it's just for Magic. Like. And they probably know they could produce 20% more and still sell out. Yeah. It's not like they produce 20% more product and maybe it sells, maybe it doesn't. They might take a loss. They could make at least a quarter more product and still sell out, and then maybe decide whether they're printing more after that.
The argument against that all is that when people tell me, well, it's a print product. You can just print more, but every 3 months is a new set.
There's so many trees.
When they finish printing a set, they have to jump onto the next set, and I think the backlog is about a 1 year delay. Like there's like a six months to 1 year delay for them to print and then package and then ship out.
Well,
the logistics behind it is they can't just stop what they're doing and print more Final Fantasy and then go back to what they're doing. That's not how it goes.
Well, the fact that the Brazil that leak thing, they got the pre-release kits for Final Fantasy rather than the Dragonstone ones, shows that the pre-release kits for Final Fantasy were printed at least like 3-4 months ago when the Dragonstone ones were supposed to be going out. So it shows you that there's a massive gap in between there. So theoretically right now they're already printing the next set and the next set. Correct. So they can't just go back in line and just be like, hot the presses, print more Final Fantasy.
They can print more, but logistically
all that
not really.
In
have
6,
another
12 months, whatever that set is now effed up because it doesn't have the product there. Yeah. So
you can't just like stop the queue, the production line, and then go back to doing a thing and then expect the production line to go back to normal afterwards. It's like anyone who's worked in like a business kind of understands that it's like there's logistics behind everything.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, behind all that like back and forward, we are actually quite excited for Final Fantasy. I don't consider myself a big Final Fantasy guy. I have played I have played a handful of the Final Fantasy games.
Which one?
6, 7, 10, and
you missed 8.
15. I missed 8. That's the one with the Gunblade, right?
Yes.
But even as like a kind of a service level, kind of like I want to call myself like, a noob, like a Final Fantasy noob, like a really top level, I've been really drawn into the overall of the set. The art's been strong, the cards been strong, and now I'm in that like pre-release excitement. I'm quite excited. Actually, Final Fantasy has got me sucked back in. So how about yourselves, guys?
I like it because this set has a lot of like very thematic.
Strongly themed.
Very, very thematic. Like a lot of the cards that I'm gonna be showing you guys later, it's very, very game-light.
Yeah,
game-like cards.
Game-like story hard.
Not story. Game-like cards.
Yeah, massive props to the Magic designers. Always
like how they design a card. Like it makes sense.
I actually have a reference to that as well in the bit as well.
Have you played a lot of Final Fantasy? The video game
7 and 8. Yeah,
7 and 8. Yeah. So I think the only one I've played is the last turn-based one, which I think is 7th on PlayStation. I think that's correct.
You played it on PS1?
Yeah.
The guy with the big sword?
I did.
Then you played Final Fantasy 7.
7, yeah. So that's the only one I played at the time. And I honestly didn't care about this at all. But I mentioned to King before coming in, I came in with about an hour to spare to like clean up the podcast area and then look through the cards. I spent the entire time looking through the cards, and at the end of it, if I get some time over the next couple of weeks, I'm going to go download a Final Fantasy game. So I'll take some recommendations from you guys, and I'm going to play some.
Do you know that they remake the 7?
Yeah,
No, they've remade 7.
You should play Final Fantasy 7 remake.
and
Like a modern game.
They've redesigned the game entirely like modern.
Is the storyline the same? But it's split into 3 parts now. So Final Fantasy 7 is like 1, 2, and 3.
We only
it's
have
not
part 1 and 2.
It's not a turn-based anymore. It's like
It's
a
still
RPG.
turn-based.
Somewhat, yes, turn-based. Yeah,
but it's way more modernized.
so way more modernized. The battle system is way like modern. Current battle system, and of course graphics is great. Storyline is exactly
That being
the same.
said, though, it's a PlayStation 5 game or PC game, so it's one of those.
So
PC, yeah.
they split the whole game into 3 games. So Final Fantasy 7-1, 7-2, and 7-3 is not out yet. 7-2 is out.
Yeah, so they took Final Fantasy 7, which is probably the most beloved of the franchise,
Yeah.
and they remade it modern day game, and they split into 3 parts to kind of like give it like a plenty of time for you to kind of enjoy the story again. Because the original Final Fantasy 7 was actually on 4 discs. It was a very large game.
Yeah,
for
I remember
PlayStation 1.
there was very few games, but those PlayStation games would come with the thick ones, and you get a few discs in there. Yeah, and I think the big like. Because I played it then, but I don't really remember. It was a long time ago. I was a little kid, right?
Plus PlayStation 1.
Yeah, PlayStation 1, right?
Yeah.
And I think I had no relevance going into this, but now spending an hour going through these characters, I'm really, really excited, and I wasn't before. And I think we've talked about before, Kang, the perfect employee of a game store is someone who knows a lot about the games, but doesn't have any interest in owning it or buying it. Because the thing is, as a game store person, you look at this cool stuff and you're like, oh, I really want to keep this, and I want to keep this.
You don't
want
want to be dibsing it away from customers.
100%. Yeah, you don't want to be dibsing it both for money and so that customers get the best experience out of it. I think I've made a mistake by looking through all these cards because now
you kind of
there's heaps I really want to
same.
I want to hold on to now. I know I won't. I'll sell most of it, but there's some really, really amazing stuff. And I think the takeaway for me is I'm going to go play some Final Fantasy. So if there's a remake for 7, I'm going to go do that at the next chance that I can do that.
So props to the Magic designers. They always kind of I always feel like the team behind designing the Magic cards always just like hit a home run every single time they do a Universe Beyond. I really cannot think of a Universe Beyond where they haven't done a great job of representing the feel, the thematics, and the gameplay of what they're trying to represent. Final Fantasy as well. Once again, they've done a great job. You mentioned as well, a lot of the cards are based on gameplay features of the games, if not the thematics of the game. So many fun thematic cards coming out, man. So
I noticed, like we've talked about it before a lot. Like I played a lot of WoW, and what happened with WoW, I think, especially when you're.
Do you reckon they could do a World of Warcraft set?
Oh, definitely. Absolutely.
Can you imagine if they do after they do a World of Warcraft, they do a Call of Duty one?
No, that might be stretching
Imagine
it.
Gary Call of Duty.
I think there's probably about 50% of that game that you can't put into the game.
The crazy part is that when they first started doing Universes Beyond, we were a lot of can they do this? Can they do this? And we're kind of like, but now I feel like they've blown open the potential because they've done a Marvel collab.
Yeah.
They can definitely do Marvel. So maybe Disney. They can definitely do video games like Final Fantasy. Imagine if they did like a World of Warcraft, or better yet, can you imagine a Star Wars?
Yeah, true.
But, I don't know. Star Wars, like I think they're trying to protect. Like they have to protect Star Wars Unlimited. And
I don't
also
know,
Locana.
man. I don't know.
We got some of those Star Wars Unlimited packs in, and I've been opening them and just like some stuff like that, like the Yu-Gi-Oh that we sell and the Star Wars Unlimited and the Metazoo is the same thing. We just buy them because people kind of buy them as a meme or as like just to have a gander through. It's like an easy $10 to spend, whatever. I love Star Wars, but those Unlimited cards just don't do anything for me at all. Like it feels like very
Cartoony.
It feels like Final Fantasy, like extra bit cards. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't feel like a lot of effort's gone into a lot of them.
Well, it's by FFG, right?
Yes.
Oh, it is an FFG. Okay.
Yeah.
It is FFG game.
Okay. You know what I mean? It's like one of these when you have a board game and it's like you have like this is like an X-wing like additional part that gives it a boost, and it's just a bit of throwaway art. And I feel bad saying that because an artist spent time creating that, but all of those arts feel very throwaway. Like there's nothing really there enticing me to want to be like collect these.
It's a little bit more mass produced rather than you can feel like there's a bit more time behind it.
Yeah. One of the things we talk about with Magic is someone spent hours creating this basic land, and it's a shame that no one will appreciate it. Whereas with the Star Wars stuff, I felt the difference. There's it's not a shame that no one is going to be collecting these.
I watched a while back, they had the Final Fantasy reveal stream where they had like a big live stream where they got a bunch of the designers on to talk about just basically just spoil and get ready for Final Fantasy. And half the stream was the designers coming on and explaining their design methodology and their own passion for the Final Fantasy franchises.
Yeah.
A lot of the audience members were getting pretty tired and they were like, just show the cards, just show the cards.
Yeah.
But I get it because these designers spent a lot of time there. There's a lot of heart and effort went into making these Final Fantasy cards. And they talked through the design effort where they have these, where every single one of the designers have played one of the Final Fantasy games and they're all big fans of it. And afterwards, I remember seeing a chart where they showed off the four games that have the most cards is Final Fantasy 6, 7, 10, and 13.
Yes.
Which makes sense because I think they're the most popular ones, right?
Correct.
So, sorry, 14? 14 is the MMO.
Yes, the MMO.
Yeah.
I can only assume with like a franchise that's this beloved as well, when the call goes out for people to get involved, there's probably more people scrambling to be a part of it and be part of it and put their touch on it rather than maybe like a more generic set that people are going to be less interested in. Like, look, I could be wrong, but let's say, Thunder Junction comes out and the Magic goes, all right, we need artists. And then they have to go around and get artists submitting artwork and like, they're like, we need you to do this. And, you're commissioning people. I assume with something like Final Fantasy, when art's going to get drawn up, they go, people are clambering to get a part of that and get their name on it because just to be involved in it in any way is going to be really prevalent to them and their work, you know what I mean? So...
All right, so should we get into the fun part?
Yeah.
We're going to talk about Final Fantasy and we're going to talk about our favorite cards that really stood out to us. I made the call for every one of us to go out and figure out a couple cards we really like. So who wants to go first?
I'll jump in quickly before we start.
Let's go.
Because I noticed something on the side of it that I'm really keen to have a look at. There's two main things, right? The party mechanic from D&D, which is clerics, wizards, warriors, and rogues. This set almost works like if you look through all the characters, a lot of them have these, and using some of the party mechanics, which weren't I would say thoroughly supported from those D&D sets, but there's some really cool cards that work with them. This set is the perfect entwine between those two because all these cool special characters that actually do really cool stuff work perfectly with the party mechanic. So I'm going to go back and have a look at maybe building a deck around that.
It's
think
funny
with these characters
that Wizards of the Coast tend to kind of dropped the party mechanic after the D&D sets came out because this game would be perfect for the party mechanic.
The party mechanic had a lot of really amazing support cards, but not a lot of like characters and stuff that went along with it, I guess, to do with that.
Correct.
And then Thunder Junction.
It was a build around mechanic where you had to really be in that mechanic to build around it.
And then the Thunder Junction came out with the enemy of those where I think it was like assassins and whatever.
The Outlaws.
Yeah, the Outlaws version of it, right? But the party mechanic I had it so much from before. I'm really excited to have a quick look at that and see what I can produce there. The second thing is the wizards that are in this game are very, very cool.
Yeah.
And I'm building I've started putting a deck together in my mind for the next 10 years.
A wizard deck?
Yeah, a wizard deck, but you take like the primary wizard out of each one of the sets and you build like some
like a Grandmaster wizard deck.
What are they called in Marvel?
And then Danny's gonna name it Wizards of the Coast.
Oh my god, I didn't think of that. So good. Okay, all right.
Okay, he's in. I just saw a light bulb pop up.
So it's blue and white. So it's planes that go into
Are
islands.
you sure blue and white?
Yeah, blue and white, definitely.
So you're not doing red in the wizard deck? There's so many wizards, man.
But if
red, white wizards.
I thought if
red, blue
it's
wizards.
plains and islands, then it's the coast and the water. It's the wizards of the coast, right?
Yeah.
And they all live on the coast.
Well, you got to go to the mountain though.
I guess so. You can have a mountain, but
You're really limiting yourself. If you don't
that's true. Cutting red out is probably a bad idea. Yeah. But I like the idea of like between here and like Marvel have a few wizards. Like I'm sure who the guy with the gem in his head's going to be a wizard and stuff like that.
Yeah, Vision.
Then you've got like obviously like Saruman or Gandalf from Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
There's some cool ones here. I want to have like an A team of wizards, and that's the deck. What's the Avengers? It's like the Wizard Avengers. You know what I mean? Like I think
assembling the wizard team.
and like what are some of the other universes beyond that have come that would have wizards in it? I literally just thought of this before.
Doctor Who?
Doctor Who,
Oh yeah,
for sure.
true,
Yeah.
true. It's like I
I
really
wonder if Universe Beyond Warhammer had a wizard. I wonder because Psyche is right.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, it's like a-
Maybe some of the bad guys would have been wizards, but yeah, there's probably. But
I like that your wizard team is the classic like robes and floppy hats wizards.
yeah, that's kind of what I had in my mind. Yeah, so it was the when looking at these wizards and then especially the very fantasy leaning of it, and then you're adding in a Gandalf. I was like, 5-10 years from now, with all the Universe of Beyond coming in, you can have this at least an Avengers version of wizards. I thought would be very fucking cool.
Yeah.
So I think between those two, because I'm at a point now where I've got about 35 commander decks, which is a lot for some and not very much for some other people. But I don't want to go too much more beyond that. So rather than just knocking together like any old deck, I really want to like maybe like create something that I'm really like interested in, and this is like a long-term plan. Or it also means that I'm not, willy-nilly buying cards every 5
True.
minutes.
You get a little more like focus on what cards you can buy, and you don't kind of diverge and spoil yourself on other little cards and buy. And you end up spending your money in places where you don't have to, right?
Yeah.
When you're building a deck. So speaking about wizards, there's one main wizard that's coming out that I know a lot of people are very, very excited for. I don't know if these are on your pick, but I thought that was probably worth mentioning just because it's very popular.
I think I've gone more in William's thing where I've picked a few more thematic cards, but there's some clearly exceptionally good cards.
Because one of the big wizards is the new VV Ornithor. How do I say this? Ornithor? VV Ornithor? How would you say that, William?
VV Ornithia?
Yeah, probably the closest way. But it's a new legendary creature coming out in Final Fantasy. I believe it's the wizard companion from Final Fantasy 9, which had a really charming, cutesy art style to it.
Yeah, cool.
Old school high fantasy. It's 3 mana, 1 and blue and red for a 0/3 legendary creature wizard. 0 mana activation cost. Add X mana in any combination of blue or red, where X is VV's power. Activate only during your turn or only once each turn. So you're adding mana equal to VV's power. Okay, bad, because VV only has 0 power. However, VV also says, whenever you cast a non-creature spell, put a 1/1 counter on VV and deal 1 damage to each opponent. So every single time you cast a spell, VV gets bigger, and then eventually VV pays you back mana equal to power. This is pure spell slingers. Classic, is it? Cast spells do big things.
For me, it's like Mizzix is one of the classic slinger, like is it slinger cards? Like it's the ones where Mizzix is like whenever you cast a spell, you get a loyalty counter, and the loyalty counter goes up and makes the spells cheaper. To me, this is the same thing but far more powerful.
I think because you can make your commander into big enough where it starts killing people.
Yeah.
It has the opportunities. Also, I didn't play the fantasy Final Fantasies. I was big into like the Final Fantasy 6 and 7 aesthetic. I like this little floppy hat fella, dude. He's got a cool aesthetic.
Yeah,
you can't see his face.
The alternate art, which is going to be worth $9,000.
Oh, you bet.
Amazing pieces of art. Yeah. Really, really cool.
Super charming. Don't know what's going on, but I love his art.
Yeah. I feel like this set specifically has. I think there's been a bit of a chatter about some of it being too pushed. But when they go into these universes beyond, they have to be good because they need to be able to sell.
Would you rather be bad?
Back.
Like, come on, guys. Like, why are you upset that it's good?
So it's like, I'm going to take this VV and I'm going to take my exact Mizzix deck that I play pretty frequently.
Don't be salty.
Yeah,
I had someone in a chat room of mine go, I'm upset that the set is so good because I want to go out and buy it. I'm like, it's good. Why do you want to?
If it wasn't good, if it wasn't good, you wouldn't want to buy it. Yeah, so weird.
Yeah. So,
but I'm gonna take my Mizzix deck and swap the VV out and just play a few games with it, just to see, because I swear it's just gonna be the exact same thing, but just cooler.
I think it's gonna end up being strong. I think the limiting factor is that VV says you can only do it once per turn. Big deal. Whatever. You just cash in the mana and go.
Yeah.
I also copy the ability.
Oh yeah.
Or copy flicker it.
Well, they're between you and especially in Commander, between you and your turn, there's 3 other turns, so it's perfect.
Good luck,
right?
Oh, good luck. All right, so back to you. Yeah, what cards caught your eye?
Just before we move on for the VV, it also promotes one of my favorite cards of all time, which is Brute Force, where it's just 1 mana, gives you creature 3/3. So instantly you guys are 4/4, and you're 4/4.
You're running the pump spells, the combat trick spells, and that's actually straight up a benefit.
Always, like I play my Highlander and stuff like that as well, and it's like they're arguably not the best options, but fun. When you pull it off or something with that, you're like, yeah,
this wizard is gonna get strong, bro. All right.
Before we
straight into our favorite cards, let's go.
I've gone way more themed, and it's probably gonna be less relevant to everyone else listening. But whatever, I don't care. This is for me.
Actually, in the comment section, let us know. Final Fantasy. Have you played Final Fantasy games, or are you mainly a Magic player and you just kind of like liking these because of the gameplay and the cards, or if you're a Final Fantasy player and you're liking because it's Final Fantasy? I want to know what the separation, the balance is.
Yeah, true. Yeah. Well, my favorite commander deck that I play is my Heliod Cleric deck, which has it's just mono white clerics. I've literally spent 10 years since the original Theros came out, building this deck into something like that I really like and functional. And there's some really cool cleric options coming out in the set. There's one called Minwu White Mage. He's got Vigilance, Lifelink, and whenever you gain life, put 1 counter on each cleric you control, which is just an incredible piece of tech for my specific deck doing what it's doing. The art's really cool. It's like it's vaguely like Middle Eastern with like the kind of
the robes and shorts.
Yeah, the robes and the headpiece and stuff like that. Very, very cool. Amazing piece of art, and it's a super piece of good tech from what I'm doing specifically. So
Every single time you get a playable cleric in a set, I can see Danny's just straight into the Helio deck. Straight into the Helio
it's
deck.
got like Vigilance and Lifelink and stuff. It's doing a lot. It's doing a lot for me there. I think the other piece of tech that is almost going to go into every deck, right? Are those crystals? I don't know if you looked at the crystals.
Oh, the crystal is good.
The single mana
Sapphires.
crystals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's one for
With
each.
function stuff.
Yeah,
they-
4 mana versus 2 mana, but they have abilities.
They're like medallions. Like the medallions are a classic, amazing piece of tech for every color.
Yeah, the
Usually it's for
medallions.
green you don't play it in because green's already doing its ramp thing. But they were 2 color and it makes all of those spells cost 1 less. I think that they work so beneficially because if you play 3 spells that turn, you've just saved 3 mana, right? And in Commander, that's more likely to happen. The crystals they're legendary, so you can't have multiple of them, but they make all your spells less. They give an ability across the board to all of your stuff. So like, for example, the red one gives all your creatures haste, which is super handy. Like traditionally, you're happy to pay 3 mana for an enchantment alone that just gives your creatures haste.
Yeah.
And this is already doing extra stuff, And then on top of that, there's an activated ability. Like again, I'm looking at the red one. It's 6 red, and you create a token that's a copy of target creature you control, sacrifice at the end of turn. Like there's so many incredible amounts of benefits to that. But you're getting 3 lines of text from a 4 mana piece of artifact and on incredible pieces of art.
So the big one that's been catching a lot of people's eye is the black mana crystal. The crystals you mentioned, they come in all the 5 colors. They're supposed to be generic legendary artifacts for the color support.
Yeah,
the black one is called the Darkness Crystal, which I love because it's a silly name. It's stupid and it's edgy. It's obviously has an effect of black spells cost 1 less, but the main reason why it's really catching my eye is because when a non-token creature an opponent would die, you exile it and you gain 2 life. Cool, already not bad. It shuts down graveyard decks pretty hard. But then you can pay 6 mana and tap and put an exiled creature onto the battlefield under your control with 2+1/+1 counters on it. So it's a punishing effect for graveyard decks in Commander, which is graveyard decks are very, very popular in Commander. And eventually you get a cash in for value as well. It's kind of nutty.
Yeah.
I really like it for mono black.
Yeah.
So
I hate to talk about them. When you say like an auto include, it's something like a Soul Ring and Arcane Signet. Are these an auto include in the colors you're running?
I think only in mono. I consider the medallions, which are just the original
6
version
though.
of these. I think
It's what?
6 to activate.
it's 6 to activate the cost, but
Yeah,
still,
but the first
still.
2 abilities are worth 4 mana by themselves alone.
I think if you're on monocolor decks, absolutely worth it because you just double down on what you're trying to do. I think once you start going 2 to 3 colors, you don't really need the spot
Yeah,
for this.
yeah, I hear that. Yeah,
But man, I'm liking these so far.
like I run a few decks where there's 2 or 3 colors in it, but I'll still, if it's like even vaguely leaning across to one, I will still run a medallion. Quite often I'll run a black medallion and stuff because I always have a bit more black than I have anything else. But it also just makes your commander one cheaper. So when your commander dies,
Correct, the command
it's-
attacks.
Yeah, the command attacks is always going to be negated. So that 2 cost early on, even if like I play a couple where it's maybe 3 colors, but a black medallion goes in every time, and it's like it makes up for itself along the line.
Yeah.
But maybe this being 4 mana makes it slightly different, but the value is definitely there. So
All right. So now we've talked about a bunch of preliminary cards. Back to you, Danny. Was the crystals kind of your big namesake mention?
I think the fact that their art is amazing
Yeah.
and their ability is very.
They gave
very
them the
cool.
borderless treatment too. So there's regular arts and alternate arts.
I've had some benefit of this last week or two, with you being like you, exams being a lot more, and it's kind of worked out where I've had to be in the shop a bit more. But my mate Tom and Damo have been able to like take a bit of time off their work as well. So I've been playing actually a fair bit of Magic, a fair bit of Commander. The boys went through and printed off a bunch of these decks for these current cards to play test them, and I've been playing with them, with their proxies. One that stood out to me a lot, and they played a lot, is the Gilgamesh.
Yeah.
The Gilgamesh is incredibly good. It's so good that it makes 2 mono red decks that I run, my 2 mono red decks, seem way shitter.
I just also love the name Gilgamesh.
Yeah.
Gilgamesh having that tie back to the ancient, like the first king, the ancient ruler of
Oh,
Gilgamesh.
is that what it is?
Yeah, the Legend of Gilgamesh is it's like an old Sumerian tale. It's really cool. Check it out if you want to know more about Gilgamesh. But he's like a popular figure in like fiction now, and now we have a Gilgamesh version in Final Fantasy and now in Magic. I'm keen.
Like he's mono red, so he's stuck to mono red, which isn't traditionally the best at ramping. But obviously with artifacts and like the modern type of the game,
Red ramp is weird. Red ramp is out of nowhere. It's explosive ramp
Yeah.
rather than consistent ramp.
So it's not consistent. But if you pull it off, so he is 6 mana to come in, but when he enters, you look at the top 6 cards of your library, and then you put any artifact from among them onto the battlefield and attach it to your commander. So It's when he enters. So it's before combat. So it means if you hit through like a lightning grooves or something, you can attach it, and it means he can attack straight away. Because when he attacks, he does the exact same thing again, right? That's exceptionally good. Like it's you're getting your payoff straight away. As long as it's not countered, you get it straight away. Now you couple that with some of the artifact weapons that traditionally maybe have been priced out mana-wise, they start to become way more valuable. Now you mix that with something like a Sword of Feast and Famine, so that you can untap and then do the rest of your turn again. Like like I said, Swiftfoot Boots or something is going to allow you to like make him hit straight away. Tom's been playing it with stuff like there's a card, an artifact in this set where it comes in and the power is total to your life total, so he can hit you on that turn for 40 commander damage, which is mental.
Gilgamesh might be the best mono red.
The reason why it does this, because in the game it's a one-shot summon.
Is he?
Yeah. So what it does is you can summon Gilgamesh. It replaces Odin. So Odin was your first summon, and then Odin died, and then Gilgamesh replaces Odin.
So it's like an ability that you call it?
Summon is like in Final Fantasy, right? So you can like battle, like normal, you can just attack, and use abilities.
Is it like
magic.
Pokemon? So you're summoning Gilgamesh?
Kind of.
Pretty much it's like calling like your like a backup.
Yeah.
A bigger summon. So most like the heroes in Final Fantasy have in 7 you got something called materia.
Mm-hmm.
This materia is like a ball, like a crystal ball.
It's like a magical essence.
Yeah, you can insert it to yourself and then use the ability. So you can have like a Bahamut materia, Gilgamesh materia. They can summon like Gilgamesh.
Mm-hmm.
So when you summon Gilgamesh, what it does is it's either a instant kill or miss. There's no damage.
Got it.
Hence the lottery at the top of your library.
Yeah. So what it does is it comes in, it does like a tree chop thing or whatever, and then if it hits, it's gone.
Yeah, summons are a thing you
If it
see
does
a
not
lot.
hit, it's still there.
In Final Fantasy games, there's been a common trend of in the Final Fantasy games, one of the recurring themes is the idea of summons, where like the gameplay is like you'll summon big creatures to help fight with you, or you yourself
For
become,
one like turn.
yeah, or yourself can become a big creature and fight. And you'll see in the Final Fantasy set, there's a ton of like these enchantment creatures which are all based on the summons.
So it makes sense, right? So when you
it makes sense now, yeah.
so when it enters, you look at the top X cards,
Yeah.
and if you miss, you miss.
Yeah.
This
If you
Gilgamesh,
hit, you hit.
this Gilgamesh might be the best mono red equipment commander bar none.
Oh,
'Cause
I think
I
so,
consider
yeah.
him in general a more consistently
Just $3 in CK.
like Godo.
Isn't it really?
Yeah.
Like Godo is Godo is the CDH mono red commander, but that's because he tutors your library and finds an equipment. But I think Gilgamesh is just better as a general, like for fun mono red.
I think so, yeah. I play Layla as my fast-paced competitive one.
Imagine if they
and
gave him
then
haste. Imagine if they gave Gilgamesh haste.
Well, and then you have the Godo one, which I have a second one, which is
Well, that's what
far more casual.
your equipment does. Like what Danny just said.
Yeah,
Like,
if
if
you ETBs, you get straight for boost.
Yeah.
You put it straight on, so
then you trigger twice.
and because
so worth it.
because he has his
Six is deep in your library as well. You can find cards.
It's because he costs 6, you have a little bit of time to like build up towards it as well. So quite often you can get something on the field that's already going to give him haste, right? So for example, what Tom did is for one of the games we played, he played, I think it was some sort of enchantment that gives everything haste. I think it was just one. It was a one cost that gives everything haste, right?
Mass
Or like-
Hysteria.
Yeah, I think that's it, right? Yeah. So he plays that, and then by turn 3 or 4, he's ramped into playing Gilgamesh. Gilgamesh comes in, he searches, he's already got haste. He gets a Blade of Selves, which attaches for free. He attacks. Now he has because there's only 3 of us, so it's Tom, Damo, and I. He's attacking, so he gets an additional Gilgamesh. So Gilgamesh attacks, so he gets a trigger. Then the token comes in. Obviously, that token's going to die, but he gets its trigger. So he gets to search his deck 3 additional times. So he's gone down 18 cards, including the time he's just played the commander. So that's another 6. That's 24. He's gone through 24 cards, picked out the best of the equipments for there,
God.
and he blew us away in
The extra combat.
One
steps.
hit kill.
Yeah, it's fucking. He managed to kill both of us in the one hit kill.
All right, just going
Fucking
back
mental.
to the name Gilgamesh. This is real silly, right? But you know, you guys, you've played Total War Warhammer 3, right?
Yeah,
the Total War. You know how Total Warhammer 3, you get to like create your own demon prince.
Oh,
into
yeah.
your campaign. my demon prince's name is Gilgamesh.
Oh, is it? That's hell
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
Yeah. Does he have like big swords? Is it
big-
is it a corn guy?
Yeah, big scary corn guy. Of course he is.
Yeah,
All
that's
right,
awesome.
On to the next guy, William. Which Final Fantasy games have you played, William?
I like 7 and 8. I play
You
7
played
and 8.
7 and 8. So 7 is the one with lightning, and 8 is the one with the gunblades. Squall.
No. 7 is Buster Sword, Cloud.
Yeah. Cloud, Buster Sword, and then 8 is Squall, Gunblade.
Yes, correct.
Cool. All right. So what's your card?
All right, my card is very simple.
Mm-hmm.
I like a couple of cards. So wait.
We'll go one at a time. We'll rotate around the table. This is the podcast.
Number
of the round table.
1 will be Battle Menu, I think.
Oh, I love that card. Yeah. Battle Menu is fantastic.
What is that?
It's a common, I believe.
Yeah,
right?
Battle Menu is an uncommon, 1 white and 1 colorless.
Yeah.
And it's an instant. So the ability is you choose 1. Attack,
Cool art.
ability, magic, or item, which is the exact battle menu you see in Final Fantasy.
Yeah.
So you
Oh,
can
nice.
attack,
Yeah.
or you can use an item, or you can use an ability.
Yep.
Or you can use magic.
It's so cool. Final Fantasy games are majority of them are turn-based strategy games, turn-based combat games. What do you call them, man?
Correct.
And then this is supposed to represent that you're in that turn, you have your battle menu, and you're choosing what you're going to do on your combat step.
Cool piece of art as well.
Yeah.
Really cool.
Yes.
That kind of classic
So it's
fantasy game
very
of a party.
thematic. This is very thematic.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of this card. I think it actually has strong potential to see competitive play because of the versatility.
Yeah,
the
there's a lot of options
versatility
there,
is
right?
so high. And I like my options. Plus, it's Final Fantasy 6.
I think a
Especially as
destroy
plus
target
1.
creature with power 4 or greater is pretty strong across the board.
So it's 2 mana for an instant that says choose 1, and you have 4 options. One of them is make a 2/2 knight. One of them is give a creature +0/+4. One of them is destroy a creature with power 4 or greater. And one of them is gain 4 life. None of these individually are very impressive, but the fact they're all stapled onto one single card and giving you options does give you a lot of versatility here.
It's like 4 cards in 1.
Yeah.
I think your old things like a Vindicate, which is destroy. It's cost 3 mana, and you can destroy either a creature or an enchantment. This is just a 2-cost thing that's giving you 4 different options as well. Obviously you're losing one of the other destroy target artifact or enchantment kind of abilities, but having 4 options for 2 mana is pretty good, man.
Yeah. And once again, they've nailed it with the art where it represents that it feels like you're playing the game where you have your party on one side, the enemy on one side, and you choosing the options. So yeah, good choice, William. I like that one. So, all right. So we're talking about the card designs that I really, really love. So I mentioned that I watched the Final Fantasy stream where we had all the designers come on. Gavin Verhey, who's one of the main lead designers for Magic the Gathering, he was spoiling one of these cards. And I'm a big Final Fantasy 6 guy. That was kind of like my in on the Final Fantasy franchise. And he was showing off Terra Magical Adept, right? So Terra is the main character of Final Fantasy 6, and I was wondering, so her being red and green makes sense. And I was like, why did she make her a 5-color commander, right? So Terra and I was like, and then Gavin had an absolutely awesome reason why she was 5 colors. And for me, it's the pinnacle of like Wizard design team doing just like what they do best, which is really clever designs. So Terra Magical Adept is a flip card. On the front side, she's a 3 mana, 1 and a red and a green for a 4/2 legendary creature, human wizard warrior. When Terra enters, you mill 5 cards. Put up to 1 enchantment card milled this way into your hand. All right, static ability. So she has 6 mana, 4 and red and green. Tap, exile Terra, then return her transformed. And then she transforms into Esper Terra, which is a saga. Sagas have these. If you don't know what sagas do in Magic, they tick down through abilities until eventually they hit a finale, and they usually either die or they return back to their flip side. Esper Terra says create a token that's a copy of target non-legendary enchantment you control. It gains haste. If it's a saga, put 3 lore counters on it. So in the game, Terra is like a big summoner. Like she summons things for you, and that really this whole thing with the enchantment creatures represents that. Because in Final Fantasy Magic, all the enchantment creatures are your summons, and Terra is really focused into enchantments. So I encourage you to play that. But then what's really fucking cool, this is like A+ for me, is that when she gets to the final piece of a saga, she adds 5 colors. She has 2 of each color. But the main reason why is because she's red and green, right? But she adds you black, blue, and white, which in Magic we call Esper.
Yep.
So she adds you Esper mana when she finales, which is
It's
absolutely
such a
amazing.
cool tie-in together.
It's
Yeah.
cool tie-in because the whole reason why is that in Final Fantasy VI, it's this world where there's a world where it's a conflict between like magic and like this post-industrial dystopia when empire that's run by technology is overtaking the world. And like the magical creatures in the magic realm, world kind of sealed themselves off far away. And Terra, who's the main character, she's a child born of a human and the magical creatures. And so she's what's known as an Esper. So the fact that she herself is an Esper, right, in this world, and that she creates Esper mana when she flips, peak. When Gavin Verhey explained that, I was like, wow, that's peak design. That's
they managed to
phenomenal.
take a name that like matches across the both.
Yeah. It was a match to her name, match to her gameplay mechanic, her original lore mechanic. Really cool. Big fan.
Is the second, like the flip part of the card representing her when she becomes like stronger? Or
so Terra, when you first meet your main character, Terra, she was when she was a baby, she was kidnapped from the magical realm. So this the Empire that was like this is like the classic like evil empire that like they were able to break in and they kidnapped Terra's mom and herself and basically brainwashed her entire life, not knowing that she's like an Esper and that she's just a child born of magical powers. They used her to kind of further the Empire's goals. Their Esper form is when she finally is freed and she gains her memories back and she learns about who she is and she embraces her true self, which is a magical being. So that's what the flip side is.
Very, very cool.
Very gameplay themed, lovely, beautiful Amano art. Yoshitaka Amano, who's done a lot of Final Fantasy art. Beautiful art once again. This, for me, this would probably be by my 5-color play. If I was going to build a 5-color commander, I would probably build Terra. Mainly because he also lets you double down on all the cool enchantment creatures coming out. The summons, doubling down on those.
It's also obviously like such a good position for a 5-color commander for what you're doing as well, especially if you want to build something that's going to be like a 5-color 4 and build like a Final Fantasy deck through commander yourself.
The only downside, this is not even a downside, is that there are already 5-color enchantment and 5-color saga commanders. It's just another one adding onto the pile, but so be it.
Yeah. I really like it. It's really cool, and the ability to tie something from one game into another game so seamlessly.
A plus for design.
Because the fact that we call blue, white, black in Magic Esper, and
does Esper have like a meaning in another language?
I'm not sure. Esper's always been kind of a magical thing, right? Not sure.
I guess so. I don't know.
All right, back to you, Danny. You got another card?
I mentioned before that I played a lot of WoW, right? And something that I always found really perplexing in WoW that I did a lot was fishing. I did a lot of fishing in World of Warcraft.
Yes.
I would never do any fishing outside of Warcraft. Right? So
was fishing in World of Warcraft a way to make money, or was it a way to level up?
It's a skill.
It's a skill. So it's one of these things like if you maxed it out, it was another like accolade that in my mind, it's like an achievement. And there was like certain
very
things
boring achievement.
Yeah.
It's like in RuneScape, right? It's like when people
It's
play
like cooking.
Yeah.
In RuneScape, it's the same thing where like people there's an achievement to get to 99 of a skill, but 99 anything takes so long, and it's like, do you like 99 woodcutting? Like your gameplay is you've been chopping trees for like the last 12 hours.
A big part of WoW was that you'd spend it with your mates or like online talking to people. From my day, it was Vent, right? So you just go fishing with a few mates, and and it was more about chatting at the time. But I'd maxed out fishing, and like you go to certain places you could get rare fishes. But like we talked about before, was like World of Warcraft was is a massive black hole for other video games because you spend so much time doing that, you miss other games. Like I never played any Fallout, never played any more Final Fantasy after number 7th, right? But what I found here is that obviously somewhere along the line you could go fishing in Final Fantasy because there's these side quest cards.
Oh yeah.
The side quest cards are not exceptionally good, but they're very cute, and I like the idea that I can return to fishing in my video games. So of the side quests that I like, the blue one and the white one were quite fun. It's a white enchantment. It's at the beginning of your upkeep. Look at the top card of your library. If it's an artifact or creature card, you may reveal it and put it in your hand. If you put the card into your hand this way, create a food token and transform it. So then it transforms into a cooking campsite. So you caught your fish, and then you can cook your fish. And it just basically says like you can spend 3 mana, you sacrifice an artifact, put a 1/1 counter on each creature you control. You can only do it once a turn. I think that one is not great, but it's not shit enough that I can play it. And I will play it.
I think that one is from Final Fantasy 15.
Is it?
Yeah, I think in the Roman numerals on the bottom left. But Final Fantasy 15 had a strong cooking theme because one of your
because they want to match with Monster Hunter.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, they did have a theme behind it. But it was one of your party members was like a cook, and the idea was that you could boost your party by like getting cool food and cooking food.
Yeah.
So,
well, I've been thinking about doing like a hobbity kind of thing where it's very based on like cooking, and there's a lot of like hot pots. And Bloomburrow brought some cool stuff in there as well. So this definitely goes straight into the like, well, now my hobbit's gone fishing.
It's pretty cool. Very thematic.
It's the second breakfast deck.
That's a great idea. The blue one's also quite cute. It's an enchantment. It says when it's enchantment, you draw a card. At the beginning of end step, if 8 or more cards are in your graveyard, transform the enchantment, and it turns into like a sorry, I should have said the side quest is card collection, which again very on theme to us playing Magic cards and all the card stuff that we do. And then it turns into a magical card that is like a crewable vehicle. It's use Cruise One for fly, and the art on it's very cute. I think again it's not an exceptionally good card, but it's playable enough that I'll probably stick into a deck and then and then play it and then be like, oh, this needs to be a better card, but whatever. Yeah. I thought that little cycle was very cool. The side quest concept of it is pretty cool as well. So I don't know.
I like that between Dungeons and Dragons and like Final Fantasy now, you can really do like a questy style. Like this is a deck full of like side quests and roles and like classic adventure deck.
In a game like, I always consider Commander, which is the way that a lot of these cards are going to be played, as a board game. And I think some of the good board games are really constructed when you can go off on your own little venture and try and achieve your things. Even if you don't win, you spent the last hour doing something interesting. Yeah. And that's why I like engine style commander decks where you build something up and you don't have to win the game. You still feel like you haven't done nothing. And I like these where it's like, I can go in and like try and catch my fish and cook it. And I could be like, that's fun. Yeah. I don't need to win the game.
Commander is an extension of one's own creativity.
Yeah.
And then the more interesting cards come out, the more you can really express creativity. The fact that like when you build a commander deck, Danny, you don't think about how necessarily am I going to like win necessarily.
Yeah.
But I want to create this theme, and then winning comes secondary to me doubling down on making this an idea.
Unique to in competitive Magic where it's 50-50, one-on-one, I want to win every single time. Yeah. I want to win. When you play Commander, 75% of people are going to lose the game every single time. So the odds are stacked against you. It's like when we talk about going to the casino, you take $100 with you. You have to accept that you're going to lose it. And if you win, even better. Yeah. You're going to lose it. To me, it's the same as Commander. You're going to lose. There's the same chance you're going to lose. So be okay with that. How do you do something with your deck that's fun and you still enjoy the time, even if you lose anyway?
Correct.
And that's what I think that's such a good way to look into the game. And having these cool little side quest things or like engine style decks where you're like, oh, I got 50% of the way there. I just needed one more card or I just needed this. It's like you still had enjoyed that process. Yeah. And I think that's such these cool cards and things. Same as the Chocobos in this set as well. The Chocobos are the same way.
Chocobos are super cute. I don't know too much about their lore, but man, they nailed it out.
Like mounts.
Yeah.
They're mounts.
And then so what's the
and there's an in-game race as well with Chocobos. You can race
Chocobo
them.
racing is a popular minigame.
The same, and then there's in this one there's the white blue guys that you can play. They're all the same guy, but you can play multiple of them.
Yeah, Sid.
Yeah, so it's the same thing. It's like all those are like really cool engine style pieces where you can get almost where you want to be and stuff like that, which allows you to kind of puzzle stuff together. And if you don't win the game, you're like, so close. You know what I mean?
All right, back to you, William. Next card for you.
Next card for me is Restoration Magic. It's a 1 mana white card, instant. It's an uncommon, but it also fits into the game because it's tiered, where you can cast 1 and 0 for one ability, and one white and one colorless for Cura. And then the third one is Curaga, which is an actual ability in Final Fantasy where you can upgrade your spells. Yeah. So you start off with Cure, and then the next level when you upgrade it becomes Cura, and then it becomes Curaga. So Curaga heals you for more. Cure heals you for a little bit, and then it adds on like Fire, Fura, and then Firaga.
Another cool Final Fantasy gameplay mechanic that's being translated into a card game form. That whole idea of
this is so good.
This whole idea of a simple spell getting better and better the more mana you invest into it. Like you're casting a spell, and the more mana you cast into it, the bigger the spell is.
The influencer said, all spells are kicker.
All spells are kicker. Everything in Magic is a kicker.
Yeah. This is a kicker.
You know what's? It's interesting because this mechanic isn't a new mechanic. They've used it in quite a few, like the last few, like probably year or two worth of sets. But all of it feels like the Final Fantasy has really brought them in a way that it gels together perfectly, almost like it's made for it. Yeah, and it's crazy how well they've managed to seamlessly think. And maybe I don't know if there's a bit of like you have like Final Fantasy game devs working with like people who really understand the Final Fantasy universe and gameplay with the Magic guys, and then them blending them together. But this specific thing, as same as the last one, the last one that William just like they work together so well. It's like it's made for it, but it's not. I feel
like this, because it's such a long and beloved game franchise, it integrates well into Magic because you have a lot of the gameplay mechanics. You can like these. Definitely, a lot of the designers in Magic have played like a lot of video games, and Final Fantasy is probably big in that designer circle.
world, yeah.
So I imagine they were able to kind of like put their passion in and really kind of design through.
Yeah, very cool.
Because you have things like Warhammer. Warhammer doesn't necessarily have, video gaming effects they can translate. So everything was translated via thematics.
Yeah. And, that's a good example because it's the same thing as like, this guy would make tokens and this would do that. And back when the 40K came out, I was incredibly impressed how much like effort they hadn't just phoned it in, the effort that went into it, and it felt really good. But this is on another level where it's like the explaining like how this exact thing can be done in the game, and they've managed to turn that into a piece of paper card that you can play. It's like I thought that was good. This makes that one look bad in regards, you know what I mean? Like I'm just incredibly impressed how well they've done it.
So another thing that they've also done, and I want to mention now as well, is tying in notable equipment with also the main character that wields it. So one I'm going to mention now is Sephiroth. Sephiroth, Fabled Soldier. Sephiroth is the big bad. He is the villain of Final Fantasy VII. And I'm sure for a lot of people, Sephiroth is a name that's like kind of like, even if you haven't played the Final Fantasy games, you know of Sephiroth. He's a long head, edgy dude with a giant sword.
Can you explain one thing to me? Is Final Fantasy like Zelda, where it's the same story?
No, it's different.
Yeah,
every Final
Fantasy
Fantasy is a different story.
Yeah. You can join in on any single Final Fantasy and not miss out. There are some like nods and thematic similarities between all of them, but they're all individual games.
So Sephiroth is just the bad guy for that one specific game?
Yeah.
Okay.
He is the bad guy of Final Fantasy VII. And Sephiroth, his card also is really cool. Yeah, he's super. I'm like
ultimate cool guy.
I've always been a bit edgy growing up, and for me, Sephiroth was like the peak edgelord.
Kang being edgy, I would never have guessed it.
Who would have thought, right? So, all right. So Sephiroth, Fabled Soldier, is a flip card. I'm mentioning flip cards a lot. I don't know if I'm just like, I like the theme, or I just think they're cool. I don't know. The flip cards are cool because they usually represent an evolution of a character throughout a story.
Well, it does fit into the storyline because Sephiroth,
especially Sephiroth.
When we play World of Warcraft, right? When you hit a boss, you hit a certain stage, it goes enraged.
Yes,
yeah. It's the same thing with Final Fantasy right now.
Especially levels, yeah.
If you hit Sephiroth to a stage, it enrages as well. It changes form. So that's what the flip is.
I'll mention that in a second because Sephiroth goes from like a regular, really edgelord guy to being a god.
How does like Final Fantasy work? It's like in WoW, you're trying to beat it, or you're trying to like beat this before it gets to that stage, or like minimize that stage, or
you have to pass through that stage.
You have to pass through it anyway.
Yeah. So Sephiroth, Fabled Soldier is on the front side, 3 mana, 2 and 1 black for a 3/3 legendary creature. Human avatar soldier. Whenever Sephiroth enters or attacks, you may sacrifice another creature. If you do, draw a card. So use card draw if you sacrifice an attack. Not bad. Whenever another creature dies, target opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. If this is the 4th time this ability is resolved, transform Sephiroth. The Sephiroth transforms into Sephiroth, 1-winged angel. Very cool. Flying 5/5. He has
Notably, he'd be flying around in circles though.
Yeah, 1 wing, right? Terrible. As this creature transforms into Sephiroth, 1-winged angel, you get an emblem. So an emblem just sticks around forever. Whenever a creature dies, target opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. Whenever Sephiroth attacks, you may sacrifice any number of other creatures, and if you do, draw that many cards. Sephiroth is this super big, massive, mono black commander that just says draw cards, deal damage to everyone while gaining life.
Combo with it.
Cool.
Sheldred.
But
it turns into an angel nightmare avatar.
Yeah.
And like to me, like angel and nightmare kind of work against each other in themes. Like, how does that relate to the theme of the story? Of like,
because he infused himself with Genova.
Genova, yeah. It's like the magic Genova. I haven't actually played.
It's like the mother of like where to get abilities from.
Yeah,
because his ability is called Supernova, and like to me, anything, Supernova feels like the mass ending. You know what I mean?
He's the final boss.
Yeah.
He is the end of the storyline.
He used to be good. He's like a merc, and then where he's used to be good friends with the main character in Final Fantasy VII Cloud, and then they had like different ways, pretty much.
Well, he turns into an angel, and an angel is generally considered a good thing, I guess.
I believe so.
Yes, because in the game, like he has like angel wings, and when he comes, like you can see like a feather dropping down and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like
in Japanese culture, they have a pretty interesting take on all of the biblical representations of things.
True. Yeah.
So
I guess
you see a lot of like
in like Western media, I guess an angel is always a good thing, but it doesn't necessarily mean that because an angel is still a harbinger coming from above, I guess.
But the reason why I mentioned Sephiroth is because Sephiroth notably in all the games wields the Masamune.
Yes.
I scrolled past the Masamune earlier, so I'm going to scroll back. But also, you will have, for
That's his
example,
weapon, I'm assuming.
That's his weapon, the big, giant katana, the samurai sword. And also, you'll have, Cloud wields the Buster Sword. So
Sephiroth's like a tin long sword, and then Cloud has this gigantic sword, and then with small swiggly arms.
All right, I scrolled past the Masamune earlier, but anyway, I want to explain it. So the reason why it's notable is that if you're going to play Sephiroth, you're going to, in your deck, also run the Masamune. It's his weapon. And the Masamune has an ability that says, whenever you equip a creature, and whenever a death trigger from this creature occurs, you double it. You copy it again. And Sephiroth specifically says, whenever he enters an attack, you sacrifice a creature, you draw cards. So you want to put Masamune on Sephiroth. And I think that's so cool. That like they thematically designed it so that you want to equip the notable equipment onto the commander that plays it. And the same thing with the new Cloud. The new Cloud is a 2-mana card that goes find equipment. And you're going to want to find Buster Sword.
Yeah.
Because it goes from 2 mana into a 3-mana card. It perfectly curves. So once again, I'm keen. I'm currently building the Speed Demon Mono Black deck from Aether Drift. Never got around to finishing it, but
I swapped out for this guy.
Dude, the new Sephiroth is pretty cool, man.
Yeah.
So big plus. Also edgy. Big art fan as well.
Yeah, 100%.
All right, back to you, Danny.
I'm going to move across and do some of the art picks. I honestly don't know if they're any good. I haven't even looked. But for the first one's got to be the Summon Primal Odin on the alternate art, full art. It's a enchantment creature, Saga Knight. It comes in, destroy target creature and controls. Then the second one is this creature gains whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, that player loses the game, which is pretty nuts. Yeah. And the final one is Hall of Sorrow, draw 2 cards. Each player loses 2 life. Now, this might be a question for like gameplay. I should probably know this myself, really. But once the enchantment's done, the creature leaves, right? He can't stick around as a creature once the enchantment's done. Once the
Saga's done. Because a summon, right? It's you call it for one battle.
Yeah.
Like that one time.
I see.
To attack and go back. That's it.
Specifically on all the new enchantment creatures, you'll see the rules text now just says you sacrifice it when it finishes the last tick.
Got it.
Yeah. They had to. So recently, a rules change happened where I won't go too far into it, but they changed it so that in sagas now, when sagas lose the ability to gain counters, they still stay on the board. When in the past, they used to die immediately. But that's a different ruling. That's something else we can talk about another day.
Interesting. So, how does it?
So
I do want to know how does
in
that
the past, a common example is Urza Saga is a land that if you play Blood Moon kills Urza Saga.
Yep.
Because it's a saga that no longer can gain counters. I think it loses the counters and then it just dies. But in the new they recently errated the rules so that if a saga loses its counters, it no longer immediately dies. It just stays at whatever it was.
Oh, so like with Urza Saga, you can just constantly make.
If you're able to stick Urza Saga on the second part, you can just keep making constructs.
That's gross.
If you're able to figure out how to.
I guess the main thing you're doing there is like blood mooning or something though, which would then remove the abilities as well.
But it means that it doesn't insta kill Urza Saga now. I think that's the only real caveat. Like that's the only time it's ever going to really come up. Every other time it's fine.
I wonder if it was the main reason why things work better or worse.
So they made it in time for Final Fantasy is because what they're trying to do is that, for example, there's cards like Deadpool, which switch text boxes. So they just instantly kill an enchantment creature.
Oh, okay, yeah. Because it loses the creature
also
ability.
like humility.
What does it do?
It turns all creatures into base 1/1, right?
Yeah,
no, it can't get
those
counters.
abilities, and then like all the sagas just die, right?
Yeah, true. Interesting. But I just thought the art on these and in foils and stuff like that, very, very cool. Another one is the Summon Brynhildir. It's a red creature. The full art foil version of that is it's just going to be like, it's going to have some, like, that's going to be some impressive foiling. We'll have to post them up, obviously.
I like the art on so many of the summons. I wish it didn't have text boxes.
You want to see the whole thing?
There was a way to do it so that there was like more art, less text.
Yeah.
So.
Double-sided. Like, Fashion Pet. That's what they did.
Yeah, but
one side is just art. The other side is the
all the
ability,
abilities and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I guess once you start to use the cards, so like the flex bud's a bit different. Because 1-on-1 says you've got a best of like you sometimes 9 in there. You know what the card's doing, so you don't really necessarily need the text all the time. People are more aware.
Yeah. All right, William, you're up.
All right, my last card. It's my favorite character.
Ooh.
Cactua!
The Cactua. Okay, yeah, we have to talk about this.
Oh, is this the 9,000 thing?
Yeah.
We have to talk. Okay,
Cactua. It's
what are the cactuses? Why do they look like that?
This is it's a summon.
Oh, okay.
It's a summon that
So
you
summon-
actually
imagine in the middle of a fight, someone throws a cactus at you.
It's kind of like the meme summon where it's like, in Smash Bros. We summon the hammer.
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah,
to me,
yeah,
this
yeah.
is the same thing, right?
It's
a
a
bit
very
goofy.
it's a very funny summon, because when you to get a summon, you have to first defeat it.
Yeah.
So his ability is 9,999 needles. That's his ability.
The instant kill.
So
No, it's not instant kill. It's just 9,000 damage. 9,999 damage.
it fires them off or it just hits you with it? Or
He
what?
just jumps up into the sky and then shoots.
It's
Yeah.
super
Like,
anime,
it's
dude.
like-
He backflips into the sky and fires 9,999
So what the
needles.
cactus does is when it attacks, it gets plus 9,999 on the front end of the cactus.
Correct.
What's the stats of outside?
It's
of
1/7.
It's a 1/7.
Okay.
So
How much mana?
7 mana.
7 mana for a 1/7 that gets infinity attack. Okay, cool.
Can I?
cool.
Because I told you earlier that the boys had been playtesting some of these. Can I tell you of a situation that
Oh, no.
that we did?
Okay.
So the original Omnath is a 3-mana creature, and whenever you produce mana, you get to keep that mana. Right.
Oh no.
Okay. So
I know where this is
he's
going.
played. Damo's actually. Tom's playing Damo's deck on this one. Tom plays the Omnath, then he plays the Cactus. From the Kamigawa, the new set. There's a configure creature that says whenever you attack, you gain green mana equal to the power of the creature.
Ooh.
So this is on the Cactus. So the Cactus attacks with this configure creature on it. He gains 9,999 mana, which means he gains that, which means Omnath's power is also 9,999 mana. And he did this
figured it out.
He did this over and over again for 2 or 3 turns, but he didn't come across a trample ability. So he was hitting Tom, Damo, and I, and we were just blocking with 1/1s. And it was the infinite meme of like he didn't come across the trample, but he was hitting us with like, at some point, we're just doing it on the calculator now, but the thing's hundreds of thousands of like damage high, but because the Omnath just keeps sucking up all the mana, but he just couldn't get past, and we're just throwing like 1/1 soldiers at it. And like again, one piece of trample tech, and you're home and winning, right? But it was just the idea of sending like a fish token out to block this enormous creature is so
wait,
funny.
let me check if they have the other meme summon.
This card is going to create a lot of very funny moments.
Yeah.
I don't think this card is anything crazy. Like it's not going to be OP, but it's going to create a lot of like big splashy finishes and
of
big
course.
funny moments. Plus, I love the stupid cactuar face.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on. I don't know why they look like that.
Yeah, why
but
they look
I'm a
like
fan.
that.
I'm a fan.
They remind me a lot of those wibbly guys that get outside
Oh
of
my
car sales
God.
places
Yeah,
where they
yeah.
flop around.
Those inflatable wriggly arm men.
But
Yeah.
over the course of about 4 or 5 games with it, we managed to do all of the memes. So we flung it. We used fling where you deal damage equal to its power. Damo managed to source to plowshare or whichever the one that life game is. Yeah, source to plowshare itself on when he was playing it. So he gave himself 9,999 life. Like all of those things, very, very funny. There's a lot of fun playable to it. Is it good? No. Is it funny? And if you pull it off, worth it? Absolutely.
So the other card I want to talk about, also very thematic, is another meme is Tonberry.
Oh, the Tonberry. What are they? What are they?
Tonberry,
Do you know what they are?
It's a creature in Final Fantasy where you fight.
You fight them?
Yeah, you fight them, but they're really slow, okay? So the idea is they have very high, supposedly very high hit points,
Yeah.
and they're very slow. So it takes them a long time for them to reach from their end to your end.
Oh my
Okay?
god.
If you can't deal enough damage to kill them, they one-shot you.
It's a time. It's one of those like jokey fights.
Yes,
Yeah.
they one-shot you, like instant kill.
Yeah. There's a
Right?
fight like that in Final Fantasy VII where you come across a bunch of toads and you're like, this is going to be easy.
Yeah.
Except the toads are like, I don't know,
Poison, right?
Poison or enchanted, where like they turn you into toads as well. And if you don't deal with them fast enough, your entire party gets turned into a toad and you game over.
Yeah. So pretty much, look at this creature, right? It's a 1 black mana, 2/1. It's a creature salamander horror. This creature enters tap with a stun counter on it. That's what I'm saying. Really slow. So you got 2 turns. And then what it does is it has this ability called Chef Knife. During your turn, this creature has first strike and death touch.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yep.
So when it attacks, you can't block it.
Yeah.
You die.
Gives you food poisoning. you know, it's funny. We're talking about like the gaming we're playing, right? I'm traditionally really bad at replying to Facebook messages because I get literally hundreds of them a day. It's a fucking nightmare. But Tom's just messaged me. He's texted me saying, hey, check the group chat, because he obviously doesn't know we're recording the podcast. And there's a battle going on of ruling of some games we played last night, and they're going through like ChatGPT and trying to work out who was right or wrong.
No, that's the worst. Don't go through ChatGPT, man.
I said this, but it's so funny that we're talking about the games we're playing, and then they're having a massive argument in the group chat. Obviously, we're all mates, so it's a bit of fun. But he's like, obviously, I'm not checking the chat, so he's like texting me to be like, hey, go check the chat.
All right, for any listeners out there, don't use any of the machine learning models like ChatGPT,
Absolutely not, yeah.
Gemini, anything for Magic the Gathering related. So what ChatGPT is really, so what machine learning is really good at is taking knowledge and then digesting it into like an agreeable form, right? But the problem is that the machine can read all the rules of Magic the Gathering, right? And maybe it can interpret it, but it's never played Magic the Gathering.
Absolutely.
So this machine learning model will actually never know exactly how this game plays. It just takes opinions from the internet and then tries to digest it into a form that is able for you to read. It has never played Magic. So constantly, people show me ChatGPT or Gemini rulings, and they're wrong.
They're wrong. Yeah, the Gemini is really bad for it because people Google rules, and traditionally the best way to go is to find a Reddit if you can't find it in the Gatherer.
Normally, you just like find a post where like some MTG judge has made a ruling in the past.
But now the Gemini thing comes up straight away, so people will take that, and it's almost always wrong. It's crazy how wrong it can be. Like it's real standard, like explaining how vigilance works, and it'll be like it'll say something, you're like, what is this? Yeah. So hate it.
So what's your card?
Ooh, okay. We've talked about it a lot already, so we might as well talk about the summons, right? You talked about a summon already once. Yep. The one that is kind of nuts, that caught my eye, is Bahamut, the summon.
Bahamut is the one of the most famous summon in Final Fantasy.
He's like the god. He's like the god summon,
because
right?
like there's a couple. So Ifrit, Shiva, Bahamut. This three is like the summon that was brought through like most of the series of
there's a
Final
recurring
Fantasy.
theme of summons,
like,
right?
Like in 7 you have these three, in 8 you have these three, in 14 you have this three again. So it's like they didn't bring back Cactuar. They brought back this three.
Yeah, so he's one of the main like the trinity of summons that always come back. Because I've also heard about Ifrit always comes back.
Ifrit is fire, Shiva is ice, and then Bahamut is darkness.
The elements, the best of the elements. All right, so Bahamut is a summon. It's an enchantment creature. Saga Dragon. Notably dragon, guys. We just had Takia Dragonstorm. We got more dragons, baby. If you like, this one's a colorless dragon. So you can go
colors.
It's colorless. So you can go to any deck. It's 9 mana though. It is 9 mana though. It's
Easy.
9 mana.
I can play that shit.
9 mana
with Draco Genesis is free.
Every single time someone looks at a card, but if it's 9 mana is a real cost. 9 mana actually does take you like a bit of time to get there. 9 mana for a 9/9 flying dragon that has 4 modes in the saga. First 2 is destroy up to 1 target non-land permanent. Sure, it is bad for destroys things. Third effect is draw 2 cards. And fourth effect is this creature deals damage equal to its mana value to all other permanents each opponent controls. All other permanents. It wipes the board when it leaves. So Bahamut comes in, destroys a bunch of stuff, hits things really hard, gives you 2 cards, and then eventually before it leaves, it's like, sayonara, suckers, and then blows up the board.
Yeah. So in the animation screen, right? So Bahamut just flies up to the air and then charge up like this giant fireball and then blows down to the ground, and then this ground explodes and then only deal 9,999 damage.
So it's the same as the cactus?
So but this one, Cactuar does 9,900.
Is the 9,999 like a coding thing where it can't do 10?
No, because you can't.
It breaks
it's the max damage.
Okay.
And I thought that was really, really cool. So
it's a very cool set. I'm just going to tell you why the serial is only 77. Because 7 is the most iconic number in Final Fantasy. So in the game, right? So Final Fantasy 7, if your life, either one of your like life total, if it's the total is 7,777, or your current life is 7,777, you will start off the battle by hitting your opponent 77 times at 7,777 damage.
That's pretty funny.
it's like it's an Easter egg, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So you need to like plan your abilities, like your equipment, to get that life. Or you can get hit till that life and you save. So you don't change. As long as the life don't change, your ability stays. And the screen goes rainbow. On your name, it just turns rainbow. So you use that to fight a boss. So when you get that ability, what you do is you go to a boss fight.
Oh, you can save it for that. Yeah.
So you go straight to the boss fight and you start the game you have priority. So because Final Fantasy is like a priority game, so
Yeah,
you have initiative
I go,
or
right?
not.
Yeah.
So when you have that ability, you have initiative.
Yeah, you want to use it right.
So you
It's like saving
instantly
the
get
rocket launcher in Halo. You gotta
initiative,
save it for the commander.
True.
and then you hit your opponent 77 times. I think it's 77 times. 77 times 7,777. So it takes about maybe about 10, 15 minutes before the game starts.
Really? You're just watching it happen?
just goes like, jump.
Oh yeah, because the computer's trying to process what's going on.
Yeah.
It's taking its
And
time.
then it hits after 77 times. Okay, game start.
I wonder how many like Windows 95 computers that crashed back in the day.
Yeah.
So
The kid's like, no, mom, I can't turn the console off. I can't. It's still fighting.
Still going.
Yeah, so it's only console and PS1.
Got it.
So you hit the opponent, but I did that to a boss called one of the Ultimas, right? One of the weapons. Answering Kang's question today, what is this weapon called?
Yeah.
Weapons are like bosses, like side quest bosses.
Got it.
Around the world, it's like a world boss in
Okay,
World
cool.
of
So you're
Warcraft.
gearing up, yeah.
So these weapons you have ruby weapon, you have emerald weapon,
I asked
and you
it
have
'cause-
Ultima weapon,
yeah.
which is Ultima is one of the cards in the card set. So emerald weapon is under the sea, so you're taking damage while you're under the sea because
Okay.
you're under the sea. You have to
yeah.
finish killing it in a time.
Yeah.
Or before you drown or something.
I asked
Correct.
the question in a chat room the other day. They spoiled this creature called Diamond Weapon, and I asked in chat, "Why is it called Diamond Weapon? There's no diamonds here."
Yeah.
And then, as we answered
it's
earlier,
like a rarity,
it's just the name of the monsters that you go out and you have to find and challenge.
Correct.
And they're
It's
called
like
weapons
side quest.
because when you defeat them, you unlock like effects
Correct.
and abilities.
Yeah.
So emerald weapon, ruby weapon is in the desert. Ultima weapon is just before the last boss fight, where you have to ring the bell and you have to have certain items in play, to
I see,
to
yeah.
be prepared to fight the bosses. It's like a 20-30 minute fight. Like it's crazy.
It's
You
back in
guys
the,
have one more card to talk about? We can squeeze in like maybe one more each.
I really like the Go-Go Master. I think you'll see that a lot.
Go Master?
Yeah,
The Subloxies? Oh yeah,
you spend
yeah,
X
yeah.
and you copy an activated or triggered ability.
He's the mono blue guy, right?
It's good. It's very mono blue stuff. But I think you'll see him a lot.
Yeah.
He's one of the more expensive cards as well to get, like money wise. It look like so it's clearly going to be popular. But I also really like the land town.
The town mechanic.
Yeah, the town mechanic.
Yeah, they've that's a new thing they brought in Final Fantasy, which is there's a new land cycle. They're all like tap lands, nothing crazy.
Nothing crazy.
But they're all named town, and there is some town synergy.
Yeah, they're essentially adventures. So you cast it as a spell, and then you can play it into the thing as a land from the adventure, which I think is just really cool for Commander because it gives you. You know, you don't have to have, but theoretically you're playing 30 to 36 of your cards. So a third of your deck is lands. It's cool when your lands can do something a little bit more.
Correct.
And I really like the red one. The red one is you spend 3 mana and you create a 0 black wizard creature token, which is whenever you cast, and the wizard token has the ability, whenever you cast a non-creature spell, the token deals 1 damage to each opponent. That's actually pretty good. That's pretty good. 3 mana. It's a what am I thinking of? Gutter Snipe. It's like Gutter Snipe, right?
Yeah.
But you'll get triggers off of this on like soul rings or artifacts and enchantments and stuff. And then you can just play as a red land after that. It's the art's really, really cool. The wizard has just a good ability, and it can just take up one of those 36 card slots, which has to be a land, and you still get a spell out of it.
Yeah.
I think that's really fun.
Yeah.
And
Speaking about towns, one that caught my eye, not because it's a great card, but just because the idea of it is fun. Have you seen the Adventurers Inn?
I love the Adventures Inn.
Where the art of it is that classic. I don't know. For me, as a fantasy enjoyer, every fantasy enjoyer envisions that like you and your party all gather at like a tavern and inn, like a Dungeons and Dragons thing where you got to hang out, rest for a while, and sit back out for adventure.
Yeah.
And Adventures Inn is just that kind of like tavern town in the middle of a fantasy village, and you rest up and go. And then the flavor text of welcome, we have rooms for 200 gil a night. Would you like to stay and rest your body and mind?
Yeah.
That's Dungeons and Dragons for me.
I expect to
Yeah.
use that piece of art for a lot of like draft backgrounds, like you know what I mean,
Yeah,
like product
yeah.
backgrounds.
I'm
and stuff.
surprised they didn't put the Ghost Train summon.
There's a card called Suplex. Have you seen it?
Yeah. I've
That's
seen
for
it.
me. That's
because
for
it's
me.
one of the
You know what? That's
ability.
my next pick. Fuck it. That's my next pick.
So is Ghost Train like a summon ability where you summon a train that's
Yeah,
a ghost and
you
it
come at
smacks you?
train. Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
It has elements on it, like it gives like poison and things. So it has like enchanted kind of train. So
That
when
is
it
very
hits you,
funny.
it gets like poison or confused or stun.
Yeah.
So, do you have one more William as well? to talk about?
I can talk about the number one best summon in Final Fantasy
Wait,
VII.
there's better than Bahamut?
No, this is the most powerful summon. So the most powerful summon in Final Fantasy VII is called Knights of Round. Yeah, that's
this card is really cool.
That's the last summon you can get.
Knights of Realm, is it?
Knights of Round table.
Around.
Yeah. So it is the last summon you can get in Final Fantasy VII. So it's the most powerful one where you summon all the knights. Each knight will hit your opponent for a certain damage. So you summon all the knights and hit him. So the ability is pretty good. So it's a 6 colors, 2 white. So it's a saga as well. So 1 to 4, you summon 3 knights each. So total, you have 12.
Yeah. And himself is an enchantment creature, so himself
Correct.
is a knight already. He's already a body on the board.
And then at the end, ultimate end, other creatures you control get +2/+2 and put an indestructible counter on each of them.
This makes so many dudes. It's an enchantment summon.
So no, not 12. Sorry, it's 8. No, sorry, it's 12.
It just spits out knights and just suddenly all your knights become
12 knights
massive.
of the table, right?
I don't want to be that guy, but is 7 mana? Is 7 mana too much mana to be playing in anything?
Commander not.
Probably not in any sort of competitive, like real for like 1v1 formats. No, any sort of like commander, I would go for it.
I do
going
like-
for it.
Hold on, let me just explain this to you. With one Arena Rector, you can bring this shit
Yeah,
out.
but Arena
Oh,
Rector.
yeah.
Let's be honest. If you're playing Arena Rector, you're going for omniscience. Let's be
Yeah.
honest. So
Well, but I guess you don't have to. Like, if you want to play Arena Rector,
well,
play
you
something
want to
fun.
don't be a prick Arena Rector player.
But it does have creature in the tagline, so it does mean you can
Reanimate.
out of your graveyard.
Yeah.
So you can turn one like exhume.
Exhume, yeah.
turn to exhume. Sorry, yeah.
Yeah, enchantment, and also replenish. You can replenish all your summons.
Ooh, replenish
Oh my
is
god! I increased price $200 now.
crazy. Yeah.
wait, did replenish go up in price?
I don't know,
I'm not surprised if it does. There's so
bro.
many
It already
enchantments.
just dump everything into the bin and then replenish it.
Yeah, that is-
All your summons come back.
You know why this is not hard? Is because white decks already have Serra Sanctum.
Yeah, that's true. And
Yeah.
you're probably like a lot of enchantment decks are already white green, so you got round.
Hey, Danny,
so,
you got to play this in your cleric deck.
Well, they're knights though, but
They're not
pretty
they're not
cool.
clerics, yeah. If it's spat out clerics though,
Yeah.
then you're in. So
There's
You
some,
can,
there's some
you,
other,
you can play Arif.
yeah, there's some good clerics in here. I do really like this. The art on the alternate art for this summon the Knights of the Round is very cool. Although they're actually the
Arif Gainsborough.
well, but the original art does look more like my cleric deck actually. Now that you say that,
so
damn, that's cool.
for my final card pick, this is actually inspired by William because I was going to talk about another. I was going to do the classic Kane thing of talk about another really big, splashy, powerful gameplay card. Emmett Sech, this is the other one I was going to talk about. He's from Final Fantasy 14. I don't know exactly what he does, but look him up. He's OP, very strong. Anyway, but what I'm going to talk about is Suplex. Suplex might be one of my like favorite cards like in this game just because of the thematics behind it. So if you haven't caught on yet, Final Fantasy 6 is my Final Fantasy. Final Fantasy 6, there's a really famous moment called the Train Suplex, where you have one of your characters, one of your party members is this character by the name of Sabine.
Yeah.
Sabine is like this kind of like big, super jacked, like Tibetan monk looking dude hanging out in the mountains. You find him, you recruit him. He's out there wrestling, all sorts of monsters, and he doesn't have magic. He just has his 2 hands.
He's just strong as.
He's just strong as.
He's
He's your party man. He's just strong as. And my favorite part about Sabine is that Sabine's whole gameplay mechanic as he joins your party is that he uses fighting moves as all of his abilities. And the way you input the fighting moves is like, have you ever played a fighting game like Street Fighter, Danny?
Yeah, of course.
You know how you have to do the directional keys?
Yep.
And depending on what directional keys you
Where it's
punch
gonna go, yeah.
is what kind of ability you use. So you will do like I don't know, Hadouken is what back, down, forward, I don't know, whatever. Buttons,
combo,
right?
yeah.
The way Sabine plays is the same thing. You have to push buttons on the keys, and then that's the fighting move you'll use. And one of the fighting moves you unlock is suplex, where in the game he picks up the guy, launches into the sky, and then backflips, and then just like suplexes.
Yeah,
right,
yeah.
like a suplex in real life. The game is programmed where you can't suplex everything. Some things are too big to suplex. There's a famous boss fight in the game where you and your party members are running away from a ghost train. Like there's literally a train, like you're running on a train track and the ghost train is coming after you and you're running and running and you're fighting this train. They forgot to program it so you can't suplex the train. So Sabine grabs the train and suplexes an entire train back onto itself.
That's amazing.
And it became a really iconic moment for Final Fantasy VI. And then the art they use for suplex is Sabine running towards the train to suplex the train.
Yeah, arms out.
Yeah, and then it's a 2-mana sorcery that says choose one. Either deals 3 damage to target creature. If it would die, exile it. So that's him suplexing a thing. And or exile target artifact.
Which is obviously the
so
train.
he suplexes an artifact and kills the train.
Have you read the flavor text?
The time has come to put my training to use.
He's obviously fighting
Train?
a train. He's training.
That's great. What a great card. Also, this card is going to be a lot of fun because the One Ring in Magic is an indestructible artifact. You can suplex the One Ring.
You can suplex the One Ring and exile it. That's pretty funny, actually. Yeah.
So Bean can suplex One Rings now.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that is crazy.
Awesome card. Great fun theme to it. I'm down. Let's go, dude.
No, it's awesome. This is very, very cool, and it's always cool in video games like that where they create. It's unintentional, but it creates super memorable moments that people will call back on.
And there's been a lot of like art through the ages of people reinterpreting the art and drawing it and showing off like the fun moment.
Yeah,
and it's little moments like this that are memorable.
The concept of a man-sized man suplexing a train is also very funny.
Yeah. I'm also a big lover of you get all the classic fantasy trope of like everyone has magic and cool abilities, and there's just one dude who's just real trained, real jacked. You know what I mean? So
Isn't the guy Zach?
what means that?
That guy.
What?
The suplex guy.
No, it's Sabine.
Oh, Sabine.
It's from Final Fantasy VI. Yeah.
Because there's one in Final Fantasy, I can't remember, is it 8? His name is called Zach, if I'm not mistaken. Like, his ability, when he fights, you need to like press certain buttons to like activate like his abilities. I can't remember.
But
Well, it's a good talk about Final Fantasy today.
Yeah, you guys got any last minute send-offs before we end the episode? If you've been listening as well, let us know which Final Fantasy you've played. Let us know which Final Fantasy is your favorite.
Yeah,
I think there's going to be a good spread.
Definitely going to go download that 7 remake. It sounds really cool.
All right.
I don't know when I'm going to get to play it.
Oh, we're going to
sneak
organize
when we can.
another Eternal Magic Commander event soon.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got a whole suite of things to come out. So far, we've scheduled up Final Fantasy pre-release, which is
Next week.
this week.
Sorry, not next week.
For the listeners, you probably actually might catch them before the pre-release comes out. But the set officially comes out June the 6th. Our pre-release is June the 7th and the 8th. We have also 2 drafts scheduled for June the 7th and then the week after June the 7th.
Yeah.
Outside of those two is all we haven't scheduled yet, but keep an eye on our pages.
Can you imagine you get like Cactua on your draft?
New draft, yeah.
I don't know if you can get to like 7 mana in draft safely though.
They've said that they're going to have a decent reprint line of because it's a core set, this, right?
Correct.
Yes.
We know there's going to be more Commander decks.
Play boosters, yes, but not the
anything fancy and collectors not getting a reprint like the gift bundles or such. But we do know there's going to be more Commander deck reprints, and we do know there's going to be more play booster reprints. Those will probably stick around for a bit. Everything else is tricky. And even though I said it's going to be sticking around for a bit, like I said that about Taki Dragonstorm, and Taki Dragonstorm also just gone off the shelves.
We're talking about Final Fantasy and it's a new set, but Dragonstorm, we sold almost all of our product in the first week. It was gone. Like we've seen nothing of it since.
Disappeared.
I noticed like a couple of weeks ago, we started getting emails saying that our back orders for the extra stock has gone. Like we're not getting it, and it's like that's. It is like, some people who people come through like, oh, I was away for work. Do you guys have any Dragonstorm stuff? And it's like, no, it's a week later. You know what I mean? Like it's like you completely missed out.
Now
on it.
it's back to like if you snooze, you lose.
It's the Pokemon effect of, man, if you just weren't there for release, man, sometimes you just don't get it. And then there's gonna be a whole new suite of events coming out as well. We're going to have, as always, each set release there's gonna be a Commander party. There's gonna be a store championship. There's gonna be a bunch of events coming out. Definitely gonna try and support us as much as we can. Final Fantasy boosters as prizing for some of our events are going to be a really big draw. I know that's going to be quite popular.
Yeah.
So yeah, keep an eye out for our stuff. Really.
Well, I think if because the set looks quite good and very thematic, I'm going to try and do at least our drafts once a month. I'll try and see how far I can get that.
Yeah.
Make sure that keeps.
You know what you should do for the pre-releases and the drafts? Final Fantasy has a long track history of very good music. We should put something like soundtracks on.
Yeah, very cool.
Get the theme going.
Nice.
All right.
Sounds good. I really keen to see it. It's good. It's good to see such a bit of a fervor around it. We should have a pretty good.
Also,
couple weeks.
with myself finishing up exams, fingers crossed I go well. And if that all finishes up, I do want to get back and playing some more as well. We should do it on one of those like Boardcast Commander nights where we get all of our Boardcast members coming down and playing games.
Oh yeah,
Absolutely.
we should. Yeah.
Especially with the new Commander decks, I imagine a lot of people are very eager to play.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely.
All right.
Cool. Love it, guys. Thanks so much.
Let us know what your favorite Final Fantasy is. Let us know what your favorite card is in the comments. We're trying to reach 100 subscribers on YouTube. We're really close now. So
Nice. Love
Trust
that.
me.
yeah, take care, everyone.
Love it. See you, boys.
Bye.